Hi everyone, I'm doing my John Maxwell now. Going out and exercising, just being in the fresh air for a while, it all helps. Especially when it's something like today, when funeral for a family member and I couldn't be there because as usual, money is the issue. And I don't have work. My unemployment insurance has stopped. So I need to find work as soon as possible. It's already been, I think it's over 4 months now. I haven't had any income coming in. And it's unsustainable. I mean, I've been doing everything on my end. I've been applying for jobs. So if you know anybody at the accounting firms, the firms like KPMG, EY, any companies that are hiring, pass on my name because I am applying to the big companies, not just here, but also overseas. I initially had been applying for jobs in cyber security because it's an interesting field, especially now with all the IT attacks and all of that, but I didn't get anything. I had applied in Texas, I'd applied in New York. I didn't get anything because I thought that would be a good field for me to get into and to use my HR skills. And I've been applying in the churches, the non-profits. I mean, at the end of the day, people treat me like I'm a piece of dirt, like I can just be thrown out onto the street with no income, no severance package, nothing. They don't care. So today's John Maxwell teaching also fits in with what Father Ronald was saying. I've been touching on him and his readings that he gave us the last few days, that there's this disconnect with Americans and North Americans because they say they care, they say they believe in God, but they don't. They don't. They'll tell you, oh, I watch the 10 Commandments every year at Easter. But they'll sit in the office at BMO, like Mark was telling me. I can't remember his surname, but we were working together, and I was working as a project manager at BMO. And he was telling me, oh, I have a girlfriend and I have a wife. And I said to him, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, what do you think of that? I said, well, it's not my business, is it? If you have a girlfriend and a wife, what's it got to do with me? He's like, no, but I want to know what you think. I said to him, well, it's your life. You know the scriptures. You know what the gospel says. So why are you asking me? Right? I mean, these are big men with their PMPs, highly educated, working at the top levels of the bank. This is what they do. So, yeah, there's a big disconnect, and I'm not just saying it. Father Ron did a lot of research, and the books he used, they did a lot of research into this. It's the same as women that say, well, yeah, I believe in God, but I'm willing to have a baby and sell it. Oh, yeah, I believe in God, but I don't see anything wrong with trading in organs. There's a big disconnect here. So I used to confront people. You have to care enough to confront. And that's what today's John Maxwell reading was about. If you don't care, why would you confront? Isn't it? You just keep quiet and be indifferent and say, well, you know what? You do what you think is best. You do what's best for your life. That's the attitude of indifference. But John Maxwell teaching for today, it looked at 2 Samuel 12:7. It says, then Nathan said to David, you are the man. So some people avoid confrontations because they don't want to be disliked. They don't want to be rejected, especially when it's with our elders or family members or even in the church with the priests, whoever. They don't want to be rejected. And they don't want to be disliked. Others fear that confrontation will make things worse, that it will create anger and resentment in the person they confront. But what happens is that when we don't confront, it makes the situation worse. So in all my situations, I confronted the people. When I worked in banking, when I worked at Teleperformance, when I worked at all these different companies, I confronted them. And I said, look, what's happening, it's not my fault. They're like, yeah, we know it's not your fault, but we can't keep you on the job. So because other idiots kept calling and calling and calling, disrupting my workplace, wanting to know where I am, what I'm doing, what did I say, I got let go. Not once, but over and over and over. I got let go because of Credit Suisse, because Jane Breen kept calling everybody, telling them that Eddie was hoping to be my friend. I got let go because my ID couldn't be fixed. I got let go because I sent out invitations for a town hall that Bharat Masrani was having, and they didn't like it the way I set it up. And also because other people save things in the wrong place. Because I told people where to save it, they didn't do it. I told them how to get the telephone lines fixed for their bell, they didn't do it. So they let me go. There's no problem with my communication skills. I grew up in an English-speaking country. My English is perfectly fine. Maybe the Americans don't understand what I'm saying, like Siri, the program that they use on the Fire TV or the Firefox. But most people, 99% of the people, understand me perfectly fine. So you have to confront when there's something, because if you don't confront, it just makes it worse. And now look at what's happening to Canada. A lot of people are leaving here because it's become hopeless. Because there's no jobs, people are losing jobs, people are not getting work. Or if you do get work, it's minimum wage with big portfolios like I had in banking, 3 to 6 months, and then they let you go with no income. Now the government's also going to let go of government employees. So that's going to mean a cutback in our services. But all the MPs, the Prime Minister, all of them, they've got big salaries, isn't it? And then they force vaccines and they say, oh no, if you don't take the vaccine, you can't work because it's not just about you, it's about other people. Then the information comes out that actually the vaccines were not necessary because the diseases followed a natural cycle. That's what we're living with in Canada. So for me, I'm glad I confronted them because it's about my life. It's not just about them. It's about my life and being accused of lying to the police, being accused of making things up, that things are in my head, being asked on a bus to work by the police. Am I hearing voices in my head? Going to meetings with Dr. Zareski and being insulted, being asked, do I cut myself? Do I hear voices in my head? Have I ever suffered from depression? That's what it's about. When you confront people, we confront only what we can change. So I confronted them with what I could change. They chose not to change. Instead, they chose to make me the scapegoat and let me go. And when I lost my contracts, most of the time they wouldn't even call me. They would I would be at home and they'd call me and say, we don't have any more jobs for you. Don't come in tomorrow. And please leave everything with the employment agency. That's what they do. And that's all. And then they say, oh no, why are you getting upset? You shouldn't be upset. You should just accept it. Any normal person would be upset at losing a job. Any normal person. It's considered equivalent to losing your life partner, a marriage partner, when you lose a job. It's not a small thing. It's not for people to say, so what's the big deal? You haven't gone through it, so you don't understand what the big deal is. And then John Maxwell says, give the person the benefit of the doubt. Nobody gave me the benefit of the doubt. The fifth point is be specific. They sent detailed emails to all these employment agencies like Adecco, Altus HR, And then I had to respond and tell them and point out where they were wrong, what I did, what I didn't do. And then the employment agencies, the recruiters used to sit and cry, including at Randstad. Because when I told them I'm on my own, I need to finish, like when everybody else finishes for Stericycle, when I worked there in the call center for the Princess Margaret Lottery, they said, okay. And then they kept me there until midnight. I said, I need to go. And they said, no, they just kept putting the calls through until midnight. Everybody else went. Everyone else was gone. And I had to come home alone on the bus at midnight. That's how I got treated in Canada. Working for a good cause, yes. Making things better, yes, but how did they treat me? All the recruiters tried, even at Branksome Hall. When they let me go, Morgan McKinsey said to me, they're not treating you properly. He said, I'm not going to place you there again from Quantum. He didn't place me there again. All these big shots, their children go to that Branksome Hall. It's very expensive. Mark Carney, all these people, they send them there. And then the 6th one is avoid sarcasm. The 7th one is avoid words like always and never. Like you always do this, you never do that, because it doesn't help anybody. The 8th point is, if appropriate, tell the person how you feel about what was done wrong. The 9th point is give the person a game plan to fix the problem. So when we do coaching, when we do feedback for our teams, we don't say, so what do you want to do? That's what they used to do to me. They used to say, so what do you think the solution is? That's what Linda Cruz did to me. She said, oh, so you should go home and think about this. I said, think about what? She's like, I think you should come back with a solution. I said, what solution? If I knew the solution, do you think that I would do it differently? I would do it differently, wouldn't I? If I knew a solution. But they don't give you the solution. They want you to come up with the solution. They want you to fix everything and be in a rules-based society where they are calling the shots, like the military. So the cards are stacked against you. No matter what I did, no matter how good I was, no matter how many times I got Employee of the Month at Teleperformance, when the cutbacks came, they still let me go. When there was that one call about the customer getting upset or me doing something that they felt should have been done differently, they removed me from the campaign. I had one situation where somebody called in. They told me to access the mother's account. She was a minor. So I said to her, I can't. I need to speak to your mother. She said, no. They took me off that campaign. They said, you do what the customer tells you. I said, oh yeah, and then when I get into trouble because I didn't follow the laws, then who's you going to blame? You're going to put me in the jail, isn't it? That's what happens to me over and over and over in this country. And then the 10th point is affirm him or her as a person. And John Maxwell likes to use and a friend. For me, I came here from a British culture. I came here from Zimbabwe. They're not my friends. I do a job for them and that's it. They're not my friends. I might have friends in my church. I might have friends at the college. I might have friends, people that studied with me that became friends over time. Like Kevin Kelly, he invited me to his ordination. Trevor also invited me to his ordination. Those are my friends. So yeah, we worked together, we worked on things as students, we worked on things later. So those are my friends. But the bankers, like Michael Carter, he told me, I'm not here to be your friend. I said, I'm not here to be your friend either at HSBC. I said, I don't come to work to make friends. I'm friendly, yes, but most Zimbabweans are friendly, but I'm not your friend. I don't keep quiet, I confront them. Because if I don't confront them, they just take advantage of me. They want you to be like a Stepford wife, like a cookie cutter. This is the way you talk. Change your voice, change how you talk, change how you dress. That's how they treated me in this country. And then they say, oh no, that's not the way Canada is. They fight for other people, but when I went for an interview at CIBC, they didn't like my trousers, so they didn't put me through to the next round to get an interview. My dress is perfectly fine. My friend in England, Bhavna, she told me, go naked next time. Go naked to the interview. Maybe then they'll hire you. Because no matter what you do, they won't give you a job. And if you're friendly with someone, they think you're having an affair with them. Who are you talking to? That's how they treat me. And people who do have affairs, nothing happens to them. Like that reporter, Amanda, what's her name? They're still earning their 100,000s and they're still living a good life. Because the sin is condoned, that's why. So the last point is that each time you build up your people and identify their problems, you give them an opportunity to grow. Only God can forgive these people for what they've done to me. I used to tell them. I told HR, I said, I've got a widowed mother to take care of. My dad died in 1977. I used to tell Jean about my dad and about how close I was to him and that I don't have anybody to fall back on, that I sponsored my mother. I just bought my place. I don't want to be out there on the street looking for something else. They still let me go. They said, we don't. This was in 2007. So they don't have any compassion for me. They don't care what's happening to me. And even with the skills, with the training, I applied for many grants. I applied for many, like to get investment into my spiritual direction, to get help. I wrote to Share Life. I wrote to the Jesuits. I wrote to Bono. I wrote to the sisters. I wrote to so many places saying, please help me and my mom. Nobody helped. No one did anything. I did a lot of volunteering in Canada, in the churches, at Share Life, for the food banks, for Out of the Cold, for Fred Victor. I did a lot. But when I ask for help, nobody is willing to help me. So, what's happening to me shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get a job and to move forward and to hold those top positions. It's not a matter of not having confidence. Everybody needs a little bit of training when you start a new job to see, okay, how do people like things done? How do you do it? What is the culture in a company? It takes at least a year to get used to a company. With me, they wanted me ready-made. Oh, so you want me to come in, hit the ground for 3 months, and if I make mistakes, they're unacceptable. You just let me go without even talking to me. That's how you treat me. Is it right? Is it good? And is it fair? It's not. Even Delaney cried. Delaney was one of the recruiters that placed me at Ivanhoe, Cambridge. She cried when I told her what they did to me. Oh, they don't like how you talk. Oh, change your voice. Oh, change your accent. So you want me to say, hello, good morning, how are you today? Can I help you with that? Is there anything else I can do for you? Then you'll be happy, right? It's sickening. Then they say, oh no, we don't understand you. So now they're putting all robots on the job. So it's good because the Americans are always like that, and the Canadians. That's how they treat me. All the companies I worked for were Canadian companies. Maybe they had clients in America or other parts of the world. They were Canadian companies. And they have not been fair to me. None of them. I used to tell them, don't lean over me, don't touch me, don't breathe on me. I don't like it. Keep your distance. So that's why things are getting worse and worse by the day in Canada. People don't want to stay here. They're looking for jobs in Dubai, in Australia, in America. I'm also applying to jobs in America. Executive assistant jobs, HR director jobs. I'm also applying. Why not? I've got the experience working on boards. I've got the experience working in multinational companies, in banking, in healthcare, in Catholic education. I didn't want to move around so much, but I didn't have a choice. I was pushed from one contract to the other. I was pushed. And then when they're sick, when something's happening to them, then they want you to say, I'm sorry you're sick, I'm sorry this happened to you, let me see what I can do. But they don't do it for you, do they? And when you're a visible minority, it's worse. And when you're a Christian, it's even worse. If it's a Muslim or if it's a Hindu or some other religion, then they're quite happy to accommodate you. They're quite happy to help you. So, that's what's happening to Canada. Mark Carney destroyed England, now he's destroying Canada. This thing of having food programs in schools and all that, it's not a good thing. They're making it a nanny state. To say, oh, look, things are so hard, so you can't afford it, so we're putting this in to help you. And then when they take that away, then what? Then what? Like they did with the COVID, when they gave us that 3,000 and they gave companies so much money. And then they want to start bringing liens against you and saying pay it back and all that. Then what? I want to work. I'm not buying their Kool-Aid. I'm not buying their syrup. Their maple syrup that's, oh, it's the sweetness, we're doing it for your good. It's rubbish, they're not doing it for our good. I want a job, I want to work. Even if it means relocating and going to England or going somewhere else, I want to work. And there's no reason that I shouldn't be getting a good paid job with a good income and a good salary. You can't keep putting me in big multi-million-dollar portfolios and paying me peanuts. It's not fair to me. And even Trevor, we had that call, even Trevor and the Jesuits that work with the international development and justice and poverty and all that in Canada, they're saying the people who are affected the worst are single women. Women like me who are highly qualified, highly educated, and we visible minorities. They take it out on us. That's what they do. And it's not fair to us. Even when I worked for TD, when Teresa told me, I want you to go and support Jean de Gagne, I said to her, I don't want. She said, no, he'll look after you. I said, I don't want to go and support him. She said, no, but you have to. I said to her, no, I want to go and I want to support Michael Stein or Michelle Paradis. She said, no, you have to go because otherwise there'll be no job for you. So, people were frightened of Jean. It wasn't only me. Then when I did a good job for him and I did everything, I was polished, then they all like, oh no, we want that job. I said, please take it. Then when I left, they said, oh no, don't leave, come back. I said, no, it's too late now. Donna McDougall gave me hell. She used to come and talk and talk and talk and talk. I used to get sick of her. I said, I want to do my job. Can't you go back to wherever you came from? Then I want to talk and talk and talk. I was like, please. I said to her, it's too late now. She's like, oh, but we want you to stay because you helped all the executive assistants and you're so good. I said to her, I'm not staying now. You people gave me hell, now you want me to stay. I'm not staying. Then Raquel Palapel, she came to my old condo to talk to me, to say, oh, they want you to come back. I said to her, I'm not coming back. You people want me to come back and support Sean, and there's no support in place for me. There's no support for me to keep up my HR education. I'm not being given any money. I'm not being given any special treatment. I'm not coming back there. She's like, oh, but we can talk to them. I said, no, it's too late now, Raquel. I'm not coming back. So it's time people also started looking after me and looking after my interests instead of always expecting me to look after them. including Mark Carney. People don't hold him accountable. He destroyed this country. He was the one that was advising Justin Trudeau. And he was endorsed by all these people, the past prime ministers. I met Jean Shetty and I met him at Waterloo when I tried to set up the student exchange program for Wits. They endorsed me. Waterloo couldn't put it through. They had problems with their lawyers. They endorsed me. I'm good. I'm perfectly good at doing my job and at getting things done. It's the lack of appreciation for me in this country. That's what it is. My parents didn't go to university. My dad didn't go to university. Neither did my mom. I'm the first one, so I was relied on to guide them and to help them. I'm also tired of it. I want things to change for me and I want a job. I don't want a basic income. I don't want to take handouts from the government. Yes, those temporary supports are good, but I want a good job and a well-paid job, and I don't want to go on welfare. I told Auntie Delise also. She made me cry. She said, you should go on welfare. I said to her, I'm not going on welfare. She said, so you're going to go and sponge off Junie. That's her sister. I said, she told me I can come stay with her. She made me cry. She hurt me. I never went back to them after that. If your own family can turn around and say that to you, what is this life about? I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the way people have treated me, the words they've spoken over me, the things they've said to me. I'm not happy. I want a good paid job, so please pray for me and help me to get that job. Whether it's in the church, it would be ideal if it was in the church. But if it's not in the church, then I have to take whatever I get because I'm tired of this. I've had enough of it. I want to buy a sports car like my dad had. I want a big house, not this tiny little apartment. I want a big house with a yard. I'm tired of it. That's why I went to university, to get an education, to study, to get those good paid jobs. People graduate here from Rotterdam, they don't get the work I get, working in the call center, reporting into 30-year-olds. I'm tired of it.